some fun.
Shall we?
Oh my God. There we go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Okay, you tell me when.
When?
Okay. Okay.
Whenever.
All right. Thank you for joining. We are in the vault with the Kate Broddick team, and I am Kate Broddick, and I'm really excited to welcome Abdellah Majd.
Yeah, you said it actually a little bit more proper than usual.
Majd.
You got that French Moroccan twang in there. I like it.
From Revel Realty, and he is the head coach of the 2 Hamilton locations and the Grimsby location, and he has been a dear friend of mine for almost 20 years.
20 years, yeah. We're just talking about it.
And
it's been a long time.
you know what? Yeah, let's start there before we get into your real estate, because I think the backstory of how we actually met is pretty fun.
Yeah. So I think we were talking about it before, Kate. So what, 06, 05, somewhere
07,
in that somewhere in that vicinity. Yeah, we met at the keg. Obviously hit it off, got along great, and I think, and you were in dental hygiene?
Dental hygiene.
I remember, yeah. You were finishing your courses. Yeah, don't mind my psychotic memory. But
yeah.
To me personally, I'm sure you can attest to this as well. How just incredible of a training ground that was. Like,
yes.
I know you went right into serving from what I remember.
Yes.
Right? All you did was serve. That guy started in the back when I was like 19, and then eventually, I don't think we ever got to serve together because I
think a little bit we did. I think it was a small portion.
Yeah,
yes.
Maybe a small.
Because I remember you in the white shirt and the tie.
yeah. Maybe we a small crossover before you started dominating Brantford. So, to me, I talk about, like, whenever I talk about how I got into real estate, and I use the transferable skills, to me were like, couldn't get any better.
I agree.
Couldn't get any better, right? High paced or fast paced rather, like just high energy, the multitasking component of it, right? And especially when we had large, during Christmas time, how
it was crazy. The Christmas parties
were insane, right? You're doing the lunch crossover to dinner. I used to love those. I basically lived there for 2 weeks. Not that I didn't live there permanently beyond that, but it was couldn't have asked for a better, again, training ground, the smoothest transition into real estate. I'm sure it's the same for you, right? Obviously, with the success you've had in sales. So,
and that's the fun thing about it. If you think about it, we had to go up to tables and form relationships within that much time.
Lickety split.
And we used to have contests about how we could upsell. Do you remember the bingo?
Oh, yeah.
How many things we could upsell, with skewers of shrimp, lobster tail.
Lobster, crab, the feature wine that we used to have all the time,
That's right? That's right.
And I remember, at one point, I'm like, all right, this is legitimate. Like, this is really, honing in some skills. And, I remember going to the back, to bring up Mary Rose. Her and I were always back. After you left, her and I were always toe-to-toe, with wine sales and stuff like that. But I remember, I'm obsessed with numbers as an investor by trade. And remember looking at, the sales sheets in the back when they'd post them every week. And it was just okay, I love this raw data. This is cool, right?
Yeah.
So, but going back, to what you were saying, get up to a table and it's, instant rapport. And then you're still trying to obviously sell for the company. I remember you'd have your normal section of 4 tables. And while people are taking their time telling me what they want, I'm looking at other tables, inconspicuously, right? All right, they need water, Or I would stand back and look at my section. Okay, or delegate, right? And your leverage.
Yeah.
Right. So I think even the leverage component at the keg, we're working in a fast-paced restaurant environment, goes a long way, and it's helped me tremendously.
And it actually, it got me over the fear of rejection.
Oh,
because I've always been introverted with a very extroverted introvert, and having to go up to tables that I didn't know, I was like, oh God,
yeah,
I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, when you'd be like, hey, or Abdel or Kate, can you take that? And you look up, you're building this picture in your head,
Oh my
I don't
God.
know. And you walk up and they're the nicest people in the world. And
Absolutely.
you're getting along great. And
And it's the same in our industry.
100%. Oh, yeah.
So then, I mean, I just love that backstory because it was so great when you were announced as a head coach in Hamilton originally.
Yes.
I just thought this is such a great environment culturally. I thought you were such a great fit, but also
Appreciate it.
your team and your business has expanded. So, I mean, we know you got into real estate, you said in 2016.
Yeah, 16 formally as an agent. We started buying properties, thankfully, in 2013. We just got into some duplexes up where we lived and kind of been snowballing from there ever since.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So then what made you want to go from, so you started your own team, I'm pretty sure, and then you decided
Small little
to
team, yeah.
open up an
office. Yeah.
and now you have three.
35 agents. And we've got some exciting stuff in the works right now.
Amazing.
On the recruiting side that John and I are working on. So some stuff hopefully going to come to fruition. I would say, I think I always had an aspiration of, to me, the thing is, I never did anything for too long. Like when I left the keg, I jumped onto a team, right? And I went and I told myself, all right, let's go figure this out from a business perspective, like a regimented business. Because for the first 2 years I was doing it part-time, I was just like a chicken with my head cut off, running around, getting this sign, that sign, getting backdoored all the time by people, whatever. You just wanted to do deals.
Yeah.
Right? And then as experience grew, you're like, okay, let's halt. Let's actually do this pragmatically and, get a CRM and use it and make sure that you're following up properly and nothing's falling between the cracks. And then that was 3 years, and then jumped into my own team. We built that up to seven total agents. And then basically before the interest rates started going up in the spring of 2022, that's when, a bit of a downfall, which was, I'm sure, natural for a lot of but just trying to keep people motivated and focused when the market was going to absolute shit.
Yeah. Well, it swung
Pardon my
from
French.
one side to the other.
Yeah.
And very quickly.
We've been through a couple markets now. And I remember even in 2016 when I first got my license, and I remember we went to sell one of our first properties, which, if I knew then what I know now, I would have just refinanced and kept it, but another story for another day. And I remember we had to get tenants out, we were renovating it. And as time was lapsing, the market was doing this. Like when the fair housing plan came in, and I remember we went from, oh, this thing's going to sell for mid fives, high fives. By the time we got to it, it sold in the mid fours.
Wow.
Mind you, far different price points back then, and that might sound small, but we bought it for $240.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then put in a couple bucks. But it was natural, right? Like I tried my hands at other things, because obviously with the keg, it plateaued very quickly.
That's right, because you can only go so far.
So far, right? They asked me to get into management years after you left, and I'm like, I've been here a long time. I know what this all entails, right? And these guys worked their butts off.
They did. We had great management.
Great management, just a great team when we were there for sure. And I remember sitting down with a manager at the time, not any of the managers maybe that you'd remember. And just, they were trying to sell the management thing to me. And it was basically, oh, you can eat for free and rib steaks. And I'm like, yeah.
Beef dips.
Yeah. I want to weigh 450 pounds. And, drive myself into some terrible health position. But I bypassed that. I got into banking for a cup of coffee. Super exciting for 90 days. I was basically there for a commercial closing. So a buddy, one of my best buddies to this day, he was a senior financial advisor there, kind of helped me get introduced to the right people. And it was actually kind of funny because you can, usually if you're just off the street, more or less, and you're applying to a bank, you're going into a teller position.
Yeah.
Right? Or you're working at the front for a little bit and working your way up. I skipped all that, went right to a financial service advisor, like a level 1 FSR, they called it. And like there was like pretty intense training. We'd go out to Mississauga 2-3 days a week. Then we'd have the local branch that so I worked at a Dundas, and I thought I was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, like it was all metrics, right? Calling and, product sales and unit sales. I was like, I remember, second or third in my class for that training class. Didn't get along with the training manager out of Mississauga too well. And I was still working at the keg at the time. So like, you know how it is. Like I was getting home at midnight.
Yeah.
You're falling asleep at 2. And then I'd have to be Mississauga for like 8 sharp.
Yeah.
Trying to fight that traffic. I remember being on the highway sometimes. I was so tired, Kate. Like it was bad. I probably shouldn't be saying this. Hopefully my mom doesn't see this, but like I would be my head out the window. This was in the middle of the winter because I got the job, I remember, in October. And I'd have my head out the window trying to hit myself with a cold breeze to keep myself awake.
Well, because it's a hard
It was
shift.
insane.
And you're
Yeah.
hustling at the keg too, right? And then you got to be sharp at the other job.
100%, right? And they caught on to that and then kind of just snowballed from there. And we had we butted heads. And then it's in January, right before my probation was up. And we were all getting full-time positions. And I walked into the branch in Dundas. And I see the training manager there, which I'm like, she's not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
I'm like, unless you guys are throwing me a surprise party, I think this is over. And they ended up letting me go that day. And then I pivoted. My brother worked at the WSIB for 10 years. He left a couple of years ago. He got into a management position there and applied there twice. And then it was all in stages. The third stage was just a face-to-face interview, which it's funny. That's all I do now.
Yeah.
Is face-to-face interviews with buyers and investors and sellers and other agents, right? So, and I was 0 for 2. That didn't work, and then pivoted to real estate, just to finish kind of like the history quickly, and test 1, test 2, and then I failed the third test multiple times.
Everyone did.
That one, like when we wrote it, it was past 3 electives within 2 years. So a lot different than what Humber makes you go through now.
Yeah.
And I remember I failed it once or twice, but like I got like a 71 here, a 71, then a 74.
Oh, and you need 75.
75. And then I wrote it and then again, starting to question myself. Okay, if I don't fail, then you have to pay for the entire course again.
Yeah.
Right? Which, whatever, a few $100, but back then.
Yeah, it's a lot more money.
Money looked a little more different than what it does now, right? So, and I remember I took it, and then we had gone out for the day, and then I came back, and like Nevada, my girlfriend, she took my, like I gave her my password, and at a previous time, and she went and looked up my score because I couldn't face looking at the thing, and she came in, and she's like, I'm like,
yes, I made the right move.
Yeah. And that was like another stumbling block, and I'm glad we got through it. And then kind of the rest is history. But to fast forward, so I was at Keller Williams, right, for 6.5 years, and got into starting my own team. And then it was the summer of 2021. So
that would have been the year that I would have joined Revel.
Yeah. So it was, because I wasn't too far after you.
No.
And then Danny Migway's up in Barrie.
That's right.
Her and Dan are good friends of ours. And we went to the keg, funny enough, to the new keg for dinner. Yeah. There were 6 of us. And I'm like, oh, how's Revel going? Because she actually worked on the same team that I did at Keller Williams.
Oh, okay.
She was like an expansion partner in Barrie. And then we chatted, and they're like, yeah, well, Revel's actually very focused on getting, creating some presence in Hamilton. Like, that sounds pretty cool. And then I got on the phone with Andrew Perry, and him and I knew each other a bit from our KW days, and that went well. And then kind of Bailey and I dove right into it. Like, we were back and forth, meeting with Ryan and Nikki, and lunch here and meeting there, and trying to wrap my head around, okay, you need office space. Like, we were in like a 600 square foot office on Bold Street in Hamilton. Yeah. Right. My buddies, some close buddies of mine own the building. But it worked for us. We're a team of 7. There's more than enough space, all things considered. And it just happened all like this. Yeah. Like, went through the due diligence, and we had one last call. It was me, Bailey, and Nikki. Just couldn't go, like, going over, like, the the financial part of everything. And then I went out one time looking for office space nearby that we could grow into. And then where we are now on John Street South at the press building there, walked in, looked around, and then our landlord's like, if you can take the keys in 30 days, he's like, I'll do whatever you need in here, like leasehold improvements. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And then March of 2022 was the beginning of this story.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the thing is, anyone who gets into real estate, I don't know that they just wake up one day and say, I want to be a real estate agent. I know I didn't. I
for sure didn't.
had no desire. I mean, I was in healthcare. I was doing very well. I got my license for my own personal benefits.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with wanting to sell. I mean, I never even thought I could sell, even though selling at the keg was a form of sales. And selling crowns and dental work and getting close with your patients.
You guys know how to sell there in the dental world.
Yeah, we do.
I got actually torched last year and a half.
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny. Everyone's got that story behind them. It's like how you fall into real estate. And then I find that the people who make a career out of it, because that's what we've done, is we've made a career out of it. We're not just part-time salespeople. We don't dabble. We also have that savvy business end. And so you went from Keller Williams with your own team to Revel as a head coach. Now you're running 3 locations. I mean, even going from a team to a brokerage.
Yes.
I don't think they realize how different that is. To me, it's incredibly different. My team is
wildly different.
It is. There's almost like, I find with a team, it's a little more intimate. I find with a brokerage, it's almost like everyone is their own person without the brand.
Yes.
Explain that to me, because you did both, and I have no desire to be a brokerage.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I know we talked about that. Yeah.
But like, what do you see the difference there?
It's a great question, and I think about this all the time. So my whole thing was, okay, when we first started, I just took the same approach as if they were joining my team, because I didn't know how to approach it any other way, right? Just luckily, like, I've been in Hamilton my whole life. I know, thankfully, a ton of people at other brokerages, and I just use my relationships with people to be like, look, I'm looking to build something a little different. I'm sure people hear that all the time in the brokerage world, but I think that we do things differently. Yeah. I really do, when it comes to the best mix of culture and actually selling at a high level, right? Yeah. So it's you hit the nail on the head. Like, when you have a team, obviously you've been running a successful team for a very long time. It's far more intimate, and everything's different. Obviously, the splits, the leads, and
even the systems.
And the systems, right? Like, it's a different engine. It's a different type of engine, right? And most of the time, you're trying to bring together similar personalities to an extent.
Yes,
right?
I agree with you. Yes.
Similar, where in the brokerage world, it's all a wild card.
Yeah.
Right?
A little bit of everyone.
You're just throwing it up into the wind, right? Essentially. So what I think we've done at a high level between myself, Bailey, and Don, and my kind of, leadership team, is we treat it all as a giant team.
Yeah.
We treat it all as a giant team. It's more cohesive. Mind you, it's not all lollipops and gumdrops. I don't have them. Like, it wasn't the most perfect scenario out of the gate. Like, I've had my fair share of.
Yeah, we all have.
Right?
Yep.
I know, you and I talk offline as friends, and, we're all going through things, and it's just the nature of the market. People are, let's call it spade. People are pissed.
Yeah.
People are pissed because they can't sell. And despite the avenues that are being presented or the advice that's being given, it's in one ear, out the other. Yeah. Mostly in our industry.
Yeah.
Right? I just think that we have to be a lot more primitive this day and age, where it's back to basics. I think you and I talked about this at the head coaches summit, because we sat beside each other. So, but yeah, you're like, you have to do your best, right? Because in my experience, and I think this is pretty generic, if you bring on, quote unquote, the wrong agent, it has ripple effects.
It absolutely does.
Right? And then if that person is leaving for a reason unbeknownst to people, which it's always not broadcasted, but like I remember, like I had like when the market started turning, people were
Oh yeah,
right
skip, jump and ship.
Yeah, and I can truly say maybe one or two I was, it was for the best. Like God bless. I don't operate that way. It's not my DNA. And actually, most of it was my team.
Yeah.
It was my team. A couple for different reasons. Couple, couple agents, grass greener on the other side, no problem.
Yeah.
To each their own. A couple are for just, lifestyle changes or something happened in their life and what other move needs to be made. But there was a bit of an exodus, right? And I'm like, oh my God, is this how this thing goes? And what I learned very quickly, I remember like people like, they know I'm an open book. My door's always, I've got a very open line of communication, and people are like, oh, Abdel, like, why do they leave or why? And they start questioning.
Yeah.
It could be the most legitimate reason.
Yeah.
Or a reason that has nothing to do with anything. People just
need to make a change.
Need to make a change. That's it.
Yeah.
Need to make a change, right? But I have to field these questions.
Yeah.
What happened here? What happened? I try to be as transparent as possible. Sometimes it's just there's no reason to go and talk about somebody else's personal business, obviously, and try to keep that confidential. But that's when I learned, like, okay, like you're just gonna have to suck it up. Like if somebody I'm at a point where I have a bit of a psychotic like thing in my brain, and Dawn at my office tells me this all the time, right? Like I'm very involved and very hands-on. Like I've got a bit of a different switch on a day-to-day, because I'm now officially obsessed with the brokerage side of things. I can definitely say that. Like it's bringing me like a different, not joy, but a different, like, I don't know how to explain it, but there's just an element there now where I'm like, I want to conquer this thing.
You found passion.
Yeah. I've refound a passion in real estate. Like our investment portfolio, always exciting. We're always growing it.
Yeah.
Right. So we've been doing that for 11 years. My day-to-day sales, it's been 9 years. We've, it's been built. And obviously that's just time and
of course
putting in the hours. Right. And I try to lead by example, as do you, right? Like we're still out there, like
hustling.
Yeah. To me that, like I came from teams where like the team leaders were sitting back and basically just leveraged absolutely everything.
But how can you give sound advice if you're not in the field?
Of course.
It'd be like having someone leading the battle without ever being on the battlefield. You can't give advice.
Kate, it is insane to me.
Yeah.
Like I get it. There's these business metrics and these business avenues are like leverage. Well, in real estate, that only works to an extent.
Yeah.
Your team or your platform starts becoming a revolving door.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's no toot my own horn or anything. It's just what should be done. This is now the nature of it, right? Like, can you admit you've gone back to basics to an extent?
I started that about 18 months ago, and I have stripped away all of the fluff. I have stripped away all of the glam of real estate, because social media became, and I'm still very present on it, but let me tell you, I am on the phone, boots ground running, coffee with clients, sending thank you cards, keeping in touch with people, making the phone calls. I am supporting that database more than I ever have in my career, and I actually am grateful for it. Because we got away from that in 2020, 2021, and 2022, because we were like, we didn't have a chance to breathe. Yeah. And it's really made me reevaluate my business model, and I'm actually quite happy with it.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, and especially with from somebody like you, it's, to me, like I've always come from that mindset of grind, just because again we start as investors and always looking for deals and deal structure and money here and money there and like there's always, right, this thing's always going. But and the other thing on the brokerage side, to me, I treat it again as if they're on my team. And that's from like an advice standpoint as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like what I tell my team is what I would tell anybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And again, it's lead by example, right? Like when we had a community barbecue in Grimsby a little while. It was kind of like a, pseudo reopening of sorts. And we did 2-3 hour door knocking sessions in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
I printed us off like 700-800 cards. There was like 7 or 8 of us both times. We met at Grimsby. We had a bite, and we hit the ground and we hit the streets, up and down the neighborhood. We talked to all the businesses, even like the counselors came out.
Amazing.
Right. So it was a great turnout. But yeah, there's a very distinct line for sure. But I think we're good. We're doing a good job at blending it.
Yeah.
And everybody feels like they're on a big team, right? That the advice, everything is consistent.
I love that. And one thing I just want to touch on, because, obviously we have a long history of being friends outside of work, and you were never afraid of hard work. And one of the things that I noticed, you've been licensed since 2016, so it's 8 years now. This is my 12th year. I've never been afraid of hard work. I remember us at the keg, and I would start open and I would switch to close, and I would have that place gleaming like the friggin' Chrysler building by the time we left.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was because we're proud. I'm proud of what I'm going to put my name on.
Of course.
And, I don't believe that things come easy for me. I think I have to work really hard. But one of the things that I always found very interesting about you in our conversations as an agent is you still hit the ground with the door knocking, the cold calling. Like, you are not above that.
No, I will say the cold calling portion of it's taken a back seat, but I did it like when I was at Keller Williams, like I was talking to 250 people a week, come hell or high water, on the phone, right? And that's outside of my database and open houses. Like I'll accompany agents on appointments whenever, vice versa, come to shadow or, doing open houses, whatever the case is. But yeah, it's
you work
to me,
hard.
And even beyond that, it's just like working the database thing. It's crucial to me because I deal with so many investors right into the commercial space, and it's got to be the same mentality. I'm basically like door knocking with this on my ear, right? And I'm following up and still getting rejected after I've been investing for 11 years. I think I do it at a pretty high level, like all things considered, and sometimes like I still get rejected or just doesn't go my way. Like I feel like, okay, like I like when that stuff still happens because it keeps you sharp.
It does.
Right? It keeps you going. And I like taking like those prospecting methods. We're still like, we do like cold calling sessions. Our training's pretty cool. I can maybe get into that in a couple of minutes, Kate, but we preach it. Like my whole thing is you should be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whether it's cold calling, door knocking, open houses. Social media is obviously it is a pillar now. To me, if you're not posting every day, like yourself or other agents in our office, I think it's just that traction doesn't catch. That's my personal opinion on it. Like I contribute to a YouTube channel. I've been doing that for like 3+ years. Yeah. The Canadian Real Estate Channel. So it's purely about investing, but I talk about, zoning in Hamilton and the future of the city and, different types of investment vehicles and whatnot. So, we preach everything needs to be important, right? And we're starting to see like agents in our office slowly buying in, like, and even in recruitment meetings, like, okay, well, what happens here? I tell them like, it's I'm here to support you. Leave the compliance piece out of it. Like we're in tune with how to help you build your business. I use this example in every recruitment meeting. I'm like, there's a difference between a realtor and a business owner.
That's right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right? And a lot of the times you're interviewing realtors, which is nice. People can still go out there making an atrocious amount of money. To me, for sustainability and for longevity, you have to experience everything, in my opinion. Yes. But there are people, that jump on and become TikTok superstars, and God bless them. Yeah. If I could make videos every day and knock out 50, 60 units, God bless, right?
Yeah.
That's just not what's written for me. And
Yeah.
again, we preach it all. We're starting to see, you know, some momentum.
Yeah.
With the buy-in.
And that's the thing is they have to buy in because at
Help
the end
me
of the
help
day,
you.
Yeah, but I'll also help you help me.
Help the other way. I
Because
tell people, you got to meet me halfway.
You have to.
Have to meet me halfway.
Both people have to be on board, and there may be differences in terms of how you execute things. Maybe someone's genius is a little bit different. Like you said, you could be amazing at social media. Someone else could be just really amazing face to face. So door knocking may be their jam. But I think one of the biggest things that I've experienced with being on a team is if you don't do the work, I can't support you.
100%.
And if you've already said no before trying it,
It's insane.
then you've already requested to fail.
Yes.
And the mindset part, you have to be uncomfortable. Live in that feeling of being uncomfortable.
We are in the most uncomfortable industry ever.
I see some weird things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see some wild things. Yeah, like I love what you said there. Like when you're telling yourself this is not for me.
No, yeah.
Like, so I hear that all the time, and I do an eye roll. Like, it's impossible for this not to be for you.
Yeah.
Like statistically, you have not given it enough man hours or woman hours to even know if this is going to work for you or not. It's impossible.
Yeah.
There's actually metrics, right? Like, what do they say? It takes 90 days to build a habit.
Yeah.
90 days to build a habit. You know,
And you've tried it twice.
Yeah, exactly. And I get it. Everybody's people are scared, and again, it's a rejection. It's that natural human side of it, right? And my job is to push you out of it because, like, I still get nervous sometimes when I'm talking to like a big investor who's got a serious portfolio. I remember a couple years ago sitting at Radius at a restaurant around the corner from our old office and meeting this gentleman through one of my listings at the time. I don't know how maybe it was through the YouTube platform. And this guy, I was like sitting down with this guy, and he's like, yeah, I invented this. Like, he was in pharmaceuticals, and he invented some gel that like he IPO'd and did one of these. And then he owns all these large, you know, commercial properties, and looking to assemble this and build a tower here. And I'm like, I definitely wasn't beneath it. I understand everything intimately. It was just like, a decade of doing this. It's always going to be there. It doesn't matter the amount of experience or whatnot. Like, as long as you treat your business the same every day, there is no way. As long as you're failing forward, it's very tough not to get to where you need to be. And what I wanted to comment on that you said earlier, Kate, is like when you're already training yourself, like your output is your input. I tell people that all the time. Whatever you put out there, I guarantee it's just the market traditionally never lies.
No.
Doesn't matter what type of pricing strategy, as long as it's executed to some degree, the market never lies. Your efforts should never lie to you.
Yeah.
As long as it's the right conversations are happening at the right time, right? Obviously, sometimes, you know, you could have the greatest conversation. You could show people 20 houses and then you'll never see them again.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be ready for the anomalies as well. But to me, it's just like when people tell me like, yeah, there's nothing coming this way.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, what's going that way first?
That's right. But that's the thing is everybody wants to go to the, well, I'm just not getting anywhere or it's just not working. But well, then course correct what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Are you reevaluating yourself on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis?
Yeah.
Are you tracking? That's my biggest thing is I track everything. Everything. Calls, messages, emails, newsletters. I used to do open houses. I don't do them anymore, but open houses. Every single conversation I would have, I had a goal. I have to be on the phone with 10 people today
Yes.
that I'm kind of nurturing. I have to call 3 past clients and I have to follow up with them just to see how they're doing. I have to get up because social media is a thing now, start engaging with people on social media. I have to have 25 people done by the end of the day. Plus I have all these other things that I have to do, but I track it. And at the end of the day, if I'm not meeting a certain number of appointments that turn into a certain number of listings or a certain number of buyers, then I need to course correct what I'm doing. Because you're not going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again and expect to succeed if it's not working.
Of course.
So people need to be really self-reflective. And as leaders for teams, brokerages, whatever it is, it's about putting that on the other person and them understanding that this is maybe a you thing. So let's iron this out.
Let's work on it.
Let's work on it, right?
Yeah, we do business planning I'm sure it's, we're not splitting the atom here, but we do business planning at the end of every year.
Same with us, yeah.
Right. And then this year I'm going to do it at a brokerage level, right? Like, again, I'm exactly what you said. How many people are you talking to? Out of those people, how many are becoming an appointment? Out of those appointments, how many signed contracts are you generating, right? So it's and to me that's outside your SOI. You got to put together like a package.
You absolutely
you got to put together a package, right? Like, do not sell yourself short. Again, some people do find their niche and have at it and rock
like yourself with investors.
Yeah, exactly. That's a passion, and the retail stuff I still like doing because business is business at the end of the day, and there's a lot of people, thankfully, a lot of people to service, but it's just. It's the consistency, right? Again, at the meet me halfway thing, like I can't physically dial the phone and put it to your ear or whatever the case is, right? And this is right. Our office is very like forward thinking. Like I've been lucky like since that mass exodus that I had, right?
I had one too. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. In 2022, like I look at our team every day, and we have a WhatsApp chat that we're in, and like it's just firing on all cylinders, right? Like, hey, like, you need help with something, question about something. And it's not just like, the thing is when I see that people are helping each other and I'm not involved.
I love that.
That's when you're taking a stride.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's incredible. Like when I can sit there and I like to get to everything. I'm crazy on my phone, just like you are, and I want to answer everybody, and I want to be the one that provides the whatever level of assistance they need. But at the end of the day, when that cohesion is there and people enjoy working with one another, it's camaraderie.
And you know what? It's the best.
It's the best. It's the best. That means you've hit, to me, a certain level.
And I heard this thing where if you're running your own business, it takes 5 years to know that you survived.
Yes.
It takes 10 years to build that consistency. And I'm at the 12-year mark, and I can honestly say that after about 10 years, I was like, okay, I'm finally starting to get this. Even though people may have thought, oh, she must have this. I personally felt there were some things that I needed to do because, I think we share something in common. I'm really hard on myself. So if I feel that I could have done better, I take the accountability on that. And I think now in the position that I'm in, and I'm so happy with my team and the people on it, from administrative to agents, everyone really cares and really wants the best, which is the first thing you want in an agent.
Absolutely.
And then the work ethic too, right? And I think now it's such a nice settling feeling to be like, this team is exactly how I always envisioned it. And it doesn't have to be something that's we've got the teams that are like, 20, 30, 40, 50 agents. You have Golfy in your area. He's everywhere.
Who's that?
Rob Golfy. I'm like, come on, Abdellah. Like you have that. And, I look at that and I think, what an exceptionally run machine. But I have learned, and that's why I asked about the brokerage, I don't want that. And at one point I thought I did. I really thought, okay, I could do this.
Super mega team?
Yeah. And I was like, I think I could do this. And then I realized that that's not me. I'm intimate, know the people on my team. I really worry about them feeding their families and
course.
them having a good income and a good work-life balance is a big one for me. I want everyone to have a really good work-life balance where they're still putting in the grind, but they're also enjoying the time with their family.
Absolutely.
And so, coming to you now with this, head coach of 3 locations, coming from a small team of 7, you seem like you really are passionate about this brokerage level.
I love it.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's if that's what you want, I think you're the perfect person for that.
Yeah. No, Kate, I appreciate it. It's just, and obviously now you're like at the brokerage level, now you're starting to pay attention to brokerages and how they operate and what they're offering. And we know obviously the Remax of the world and now EXP and Real coming in and all that. There's a lot of opportunity in Hamilton, right? As you know, like there's a ton of brokerages that have been around a long time.
Yeah.
That just need maybe a bit of a, jolt.
Yeah.
Right. So the way we're organized on a day-to-day basis, like our in-house training is every Thursday, 12 to 1, come hell or high water.
Yeah.
Right. So Don and I put that schedule together. Like him and I are always looking 3-4 weeks ahead. If I see an empty calendar on a Thursday, like there's an issue.
Yeah.
Right. Like for both of us, right. Like, okay, so, we do the pulling in a lawyer and our inspector, but you had an inspect like Pat come in and he didn't talk like he's done the whole materials presentation before, but we were talking about what he sees when he's on inspections with realtors, right? Like he tells us stories about, sometimes I walk in and, they're on the couch the whole time with their phone and they're not walking around with the client and him and learning the property as you go along. Right. So we're different angles like that. I did one, I jumped in and did one about knowing your why. Right.
Oh, that's right up my alley, Jamie.
Right. and telling this, my story. Right. Here, I'm not some celebrity. I'm just, whatever happened, with
Relatable.
family, relatable stuff and perseverance and and, how we got to present day. And how we're organized is agents are in the seat.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and we're building, like we have incredible agents at our office and many of them have taken responsibility and being called upon to speak about something that they're very, very good at.
I love that. We have lunch and learns like that.
Yeah.
And it really gets people involved because everyone has a genius. Everyone has an area where
course.
they nail
Absolutely.
it. They're so good at it.
Yes.
I have so many, actually every single one of my agents has this like passion in a certain aspect of the business. And I love hearing from them because I learn from them every day.
Yeah,
that's the point, right? Is to learn from each other.
100%. We're all, at the end of the day, we're all humans here, right? Like somebody's probably experienced something. Like again, you're 12 years. I'm going on a decade. Like I haven't experienced absolutely every single thing in real estate. I've never sold a business until having the opportunity to sell one this year. Like learning about that and how to evaluate a business, right? And there's always something to learn. And again, going back to the way we're organized is, everybody's picking up some bits and pieces, right?
Yeah, like gold nuggets.
Right. People, one agent of ours, talking about her listing presentation. And I looked at this and this thing's incredible. Like just the way it was organized and the way it leveraged Revel with our offices and using our direct offices as leverage that like, hey, it's not just me selling your property. It's, 30, 40 agents. And then we have 30 offices. And every time we do one, there's a light bulb moment.
Yeah, of course.
Right. There's a light bulb moment and it's worked out beautifully. And the feedback that we get, like the feedback that I get, that Bailey gets, that Don gets, and they let me know, it's just, I don't want to be real mushy. It's like, it's super heartwarming.
It's not mushy.
I
I think that when you're passionate about your business and the people that you work with, it hits a certain spot in your heart, and it should, because that's the thing that drives us forward and continuing to do what we love, or at least making sure that as we evolve, we continue to love what we're doing and who we're
Exactly.
doing it with,
Yeah.
right? So here's a question for you.
Yes.
What do we see for 2025? I know you said there's some big things on the horizon. It made me feel like there's no announcement yet.
We're not at that stage, Kate, but
Another office? 2025.
Yeah.
Let's make it 4.
Yeah, they're definitely I don't think this is like a big secret, but Ancaster I'm eyeing for sure.
Wow. Della, we're gonna have to split you in 4.
Yeah. So I've been lucky enough to have available is leveraging it. This is the other thing. So we're agents have an opportunity to sit in the seat and talk about their strengths, and we all help each other out. And it's wonderful. And now I'm trying to take that to a different level with, positioning or having agents be at certain offices, right? So we have one of our agents, Trish, she lives in Grimsby. So she's at the Grimsby office every day. I try to get down there once or twice a week.
Yep.
And we're slowly, getting some more bodies in the office on a daily basis. So bringing on a mortgage broker. She's starting with us September 1st.
It's amazing.
And there's another agent that we just brought over from Remax that's in there, and she's been great.
Building microcultures within your group.
Exactly. Best way to put it, right? So our central office, everybody loves the office just because I know you haven't seen it yet. But
No, I got to get down.
Yeah. It's just the way the glass and the way or the floor plan. It's just like, it's our flagship
Revel offices are sexy.
Yeah. That's for sure. And then, those people that go up to our Concession Street office on a somewhat daily basis. But so we moved to Ancaster back in November. We bought a new build there 2-3 years ago, and then it finally closed after 900 delays. And I'm like, okay, well, I always had the intention. And now I'm like, all right, well, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for somewhere right on Wilson Street, right
Amazing.
in the heart of
that's
old Ancaster. Yeah. There's some, and there's a couple older brokerages on that street.
Yep.
Some beautiful buildings, some beautiful options there. Not the cheapest in the world, but
but good long-term investment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll be looking to, I'm an investor by trade, right? You got leases everywhere, and had to do what I had to do just to get everything off the ground.
Absolutely.
So trying to shift focus to getting back into the purchasing aisle, if you will. But yeah, there's that. And there's, without saying too much, there's definitely plans of building out several within, the greater Hamilton area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you, Abdellah.
Slowly but surely. So
yeah, but you know what though? It's all about the larger vision and the steps that you got to do to get there. That's
100%.
how I look at it. And I mean, you've done extraordinarily well.
Appreciate
You're
it.
a phenomenal leader, great person. I'm really excited to see what you do, because when I took on the 2 offices, I thought my head was going to roll.
Spinning.
But you know what? I love it. I'm comfortable where I am, and I'm excited to see what you do in 2025. And I feel like there's something else there you don't want to say. So I'm just, I'm going to text you after.
Yeah, from a recruiting, we've got, like I said, we just working off some relationships in the city. We've got some exciting opportunities possibly happening.
Amazing.
So that's
keep our eyes and ears peeled.
Yeah, keep it peeled. I'm not one to build suspense, but yeah, there's some exciting stuff going on, and we're just I'm just hoping for execution. It's promising, and then we'll see where the market goes in 2025.
It's going to be a good fall, Abdellah.
I think so.
It's going to be a good fall. I feel it in my knees, and my knees never lie. It's like the weather. I know when it's going to rain.
Exactly. The BOC's finally got their head out of their ass. So I think we're smooth sailing. To be honest, just to make a quick comment, I think I kind of like the way that it happened in the summer.
Yeah, me too.
It's been some major lulls the last 2-3 years in the summer, at least the last couple. And as much as we want this market to pick back up, I don't want everything to go absolutely ballistic again.
No,
and people getting
right back.
Then we're just right back to square one, right?
Yeah,
so
slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, in Hamilton too. I'm sure, I would imagine we're pretty interchangeable markets, but there's one of these happening for sure.
Yeah.
right?
I think it's going to go nice and steady.
Yeah, if this kind of feels like 2016, 2017.
And that's
to me.
when it all started to go up nicely. And
Yeah.
you still had your due diligence clauses, but people were excited about real estate.
100%.
So let's fall back in love with real estate in the fall.
Just
right?
get those conditions back in there. It's just funny how some listings that we try to offer on the condition of said, no, I don't want it. I don't want the. I'm like, okay. Well, you're not getting
see you
enough.
in a month.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, work with me here.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of moving parts. So it's just funny the stuff you see out there, but you know, we got to work through it.
I'm hoping for an amazing fall, and
Likewise.
I am so grateful that you drove all the way in from the big city of Hamilton
My
to our
pleasure.
tiny
I
little
love the
Norfolk
drive
County.
up here.
It's just nice.
Yeah, through Caledonia,
Yeah,
couple lefts, couple rights.
A few tractors, a little bit of cows.
I like it. Sorry, Kate, where's your other one?
So our flagship office is in 265 King George Road in Brantford, Unit 111.
Yes. Okay,
It's in a plaza. It's a beautiful office.
Beautiful.
We have most of the time I am spent there. I love this little office. Every time I come here, it makes me smile, and I love Norfolk County. Beautiful. And I'm really grateful that you came out this way. It's
My
been
pleasure.
a long
Thanks for
haul,
having me.
and
Yeah.
maybe we'll do another 10 years, and we'll come back and see how crotchety we are then. So if people want to find you, where do they go?
So I'm on Instagram as Majd Realty Inc. So MAJD Realty Inc. And then it's Revel Realty Grimsby, Revel Realty Hamilton. And then the same on Facebook.
That's Majd.
Majd, M-A-J-D. So you know, when you pronounce it, you sounded like one of my aunts. Like, it's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, I mean, we appreciate you coming. We appreciate everyone who tuned in. Once again, if you want to listen to this podcast or any future podcasts, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, the Cape Broddick team in the vault. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.